This is the Altitude Daily Podcast. Everything you can't miss from today on Altitude Sports Radio. Mosher, Lombardi, and Kane.
AG shot 29% from three last year. He shoots 43.6% from three this year. AG shot 69% from the foul line last year. He shoots 81% this year.
Yeah.
That's a remarkable turnaround.
Brett, I'm glad you brought this up, and I was going to save it for later in the show because I had a lot to say about this subject, but I'm going to go here because, Moj, we know these athletes on every roster, on every team that possess this quality, and the quality is selflessness. This man, Aaron Gordon, is one of the most selfless human beings I've ever met, and he exemplifies it in so many ways, not just on the court, not just adapting and changing his game to fit the mold here in Denver. Remember, when he was in Orlando, he was option one. He was a scorer. He was electric. He was their key player. He moves to Denver, and in that Golden State series where the Nuggets lost in the first round, I'll never forget the post-game press conference when he said, I have to be better. I have to change my game, is what he said.
Oh, that was
remember that?
Yeah, that was, I want to say 4 years ago.
That was the year before they won the championship.
3 years ago.
Yeah. And he sat there, and I'm looking at him, and I'm saying, wow, this guy's taking it personally. And he spent the entire offseason in the lab changing his game. What does that mean? Well, understanding his role on this team. It is not option A. He's got to hit jumpers. He's got to play bully ball. He's got to rebound. He's got to do the little things to help the best player in the world. And that's his role. But over the last year, fellas, on May 30th of last year, he lost his older brother, Drew, to a car accident, and it was devastating. His brother left behind two young boys, three actually, but two young boys that Aaron Gordon has decided, you know what, I'm going to step up and take over the father role. He moved the family here. He is at their home every day. He brings them to every game. He brought them to Oklahoma City. He sat with them post-game last night. These are little boys under the age of 6. They lost their dad. He stepped in to be their dad. And the karma in that, and the goodwill in that, and just the love that he displayed, he deserves everything he gets. He's a beautiful human being.
Yep. And he's also a hell of a basketball player that is absolutely necessary to this team's success.
The Altitude Daily. The Morning Sprint.
Man, I talked a lot about Batman and Robin between Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. We have to be honest with ourselves. Aaron Gordon has some Superman qualities to him. He really does. He is a superhero for this basketball
I was
team.
going to try and find another Batman-esque hero, and I wasn't necessarily going Justice League there, which I like the fact that you went there, because the first thing that pops into my head when I think, other protagonist, I was like, is he like Catwoman in this scenario? And I go, you can't call Aaron Gordon Catwoman.
What? Is there Catman? Catman do?
So I'm happy you found Superman.
For our altitude lineup, you know who Catman is? If there were a Catman superhero.
Do any of us have cats?
Oh, it is. It's D-Mac.
Does D-Mac have cats?
D-Mac,
you're a cat guy?
Oh, he's a huge cat guy. Like they're like crawling all over his. He's like the equivalent of, remember Home Alone, the movie Bird Lady that had
as
birds?
Opposed to Home Alone the novel.
It's a great book, or the podcast
Home Alone the opera.
the live Broadway.
Oh my God!
Back to what we've seen. Talking to real quick. I know this is we got to get to a break here. When you hear that a little over a week ago about Russell Westbrook being very honest, I keep hearing this word around the Nuggets, and it's honest. We're honest with ourselves. And I think that's what David Adelman has brought to this team. Some real self-reflection and the ability to be vulnerable with your teammates, vulnerable with yourself, and vulnerable in the media.
We're going to hear from both of the coaches on the other side. And how did we miss this one? He is Aaron, the Commissioner, Gordon. If Joker is Batman, and Murray is Robin, Commissioner Gordon, Aaron, Commissioner Gordon. I want to see a Home Alone opera.
The Altitude Daily. Columbus, Hastings, and DMAC.
How far back would you go with the power play being the issue? How far back could you have identified that and been like, that's the pain point for this team?
Are you referring to the series?
No, I'm saying at any point. I mean, if that's the change that we made, that we said that's enough, was it just simply the series, or does it go further back for you?
It's tough to say, right? Obviously, we can all look back at when Mikko gets traded. Where did the power play go from there? You lose a guy of Mikko's caliber. You've got Nathan McKinnon playing his off wing as a righty. You've got Mikko Rantanen on the other side playing his off wing as a lefty. And then you have Cale Makar up top. I mean, you have an absolute three-headed monster that you're going to have to deal with. And then when you lose a guy of Mikko's caliber, things are going to change. And now you've got two guys with Marty and Nate, both right-handed, both like to play the half wall, both playing on, that side. And you didn't really see Nate just obviously take Mikko's side of the ice and play over there. So I guess you could go as far back as that. And then again, when you play a team in a 7-game series, they get video on you. Obviously, every single game you're playing the same team over and over again, and they're going to make adjustments to the way they penalty kill depending on how your power play is set up. And unfortunately, I just don't think the Avs power play was adjusted enough in that series to throw them a curveball, right? You can only, you throw fastball after fastball after fastball. All right, they're going to know a fastball is coming, but they didn't really change anything up. And I think that inevitably, cost them the series.
Is it too simple to say that the firing, if you will, on the special teams coach, but also maybe the series turned on that 4-minute major that they went into overtime with 3.5 minutes on that, and you don't score and you end up losing in overtime? I mean, that in essence, that turned the whole series, didn't it?
Well, 100%. I mean, if you look back at this series in the Avs' first 2 wins, and then they lose game 2 and game 3, both in overtime, and both losing leads going into the third period. This series, I hate to say it, it almost easily could have been a sweep if you take care of a couple little details, and especially going into overtime. At the end of the day, you don't want to go to overtime, but the NHL, there is no safe lead, whether you're down 3, whether you're down 2. Like, the Winnipeg Jets the other night in game 7, they're down 2 with less than 2 minutes left, tie the game. They end up winning it. Now they're moving on to the second round. St. Louis is obviously scratching their head going, how in the hell could this possibly have happened? But crazy things do happen, and you have to find ways to hold leads, but you obviously can't sit there and milk it and just play defense. You have to play offense. Best defense sometimes is a really good offense. You play down in the other zone, you just kind of have the puck in there, and then you don't got to deal with guys. But at the end of the day, not being able to score on 3+ minutes of power play time at the very beginning of overtime, that is going to sting. And again, I think the power play at that point was already struggling. So I get it from a standpoint from the coaching staff and maybe Ray Bennett. Like, do you really just throw a wrench in it and start switching guys all over the place? Or do you stick with what has somewhat worked? And that's the $50 million question. And unfortunately for the Avs and for Ray, who was running the power play, it didn't turn out.
The Altitude Daily. Kretman and Lindahl.
I'm almost afraid to ask you this because it's one of those things where when we made any proclamation about Russ, whatever we proclaimed, it would go the other way for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because we had talked about near the end of the year, we're talking like late February, early March. Man, has this guy been has this guy just been amazing? Has this guy been just everything they've needed?
Yeah.
Then it was, this guy can't even make a layup. How can you trust him at the end of the game? Are you going to go ahead and, are they going to go ahead and are they going to do anything about his minutes? Are you going to be able to play him at the end of the game? Can you trust him anymore?
Yeah.
He got he wasn't benched. He just wasn't in that final rotation, right? What was the game where he didn't? It was one of the end of the regular season games where they didn't close with Russ. Adelman had just, matter of fact, it was Adelman's first game coaching,
Sacramento
right?
game, yeah.
Where he had to say, hey, look, I'm going to play the best guys that are showing to play. And again, it was MPJ that was out again last night, and Russ was in for the closing group, which to me,
it kind of had to be.
Somebody pointed it out. I think TNT pointed it out in the postgame, and I'm thinking to myself, how could you have done anything? Maybe it was when I switched over to altitude and Demps said it, but I'm thinking to myself, you could not have done anything different. You had to have Russ in there to close the game.
Yeah. Yeah, he had to close it last night. Both his energy, number one, his ball handling is necessary in this series. You have to have him because they have guards, particularly Case Wallace and more so Lou Dort, that are so tough to deal with. They're going to make this as hard as they can on Jamal Murray. You know, they've got the Jaden McDaniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker scouting report on Jamal Murray right now, and they're just going to hound him. And like those starting lineup minutes before Russ gets out there, they're going to be hard on Jamal. And I think OKC's going to try and force turnovers like that. And they were effective a few times last night. So you have to have Russ's ball handling, number one. But then when Porter is as ineffective as he was last night, and I thought last night he looked worse than he did at any point in the Clipper series. And again, maybe it was just a one-night thing. I hope that to be the case. I thought he was wonderful in the LA series. Like I gave him all the credit in the world for how he played. But last night he goes out there and he's a one